Out of the Middle East, and Israel's foreign minister is reported to have described the United Nations as an anti-Israeli body on the day that the UN Secretary-General issued a renewed plea for a ceasefire in Gaza. Antonio Guterres was speaking on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing into Gaza.
The UN Secretary-General traveled to Egypt's border with Gaza to demand a truce between Israel and Hamas before Israel launches a new phase in its invasion of the territory.
I say again, nothing justifies the horrific attacks by Hamas on October the 7th. And nothing justifies the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. Now more than ever, it is time for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. It is time to silence the guns.
Israeli forces are preparing an invasion of Rafah, Gaza's only major city that has not been devastated. Israel says it's the last bastion of Hamas. More than 1 million displaced Palestinians are sheltering there. Antonio Guterres warned there was consensus that an invasion of Rafah would cause a humanitarian catastrophe.
Any further onslaught will make things even worse. Worse for Palestinian civilians, worse for the hostages, and worse for all people of the region.
Israel responded to the Secretary-General's speech defiantly. Foreign Minister Israel Katz, seen here at the United Nations earlier this month, posted on X, formerly Twitter, that under Guterres, the UN has become an anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli body that shelters and emboldens terror. Little sign, then, of a reprieve anytime soon for the beleaguered and hungry people of Gaza.
Earlier, I asked DW correspondent Rebecca Ritters in Jerusalem to sum up the Secretary-General's remarks.
Well, Michael, it's probably not anything very unexpected in what Antonio Guterres had to say. He's visiting the region, also Egypt and Jordan, as well as this Gaza border area on the Egyptian side during the holy month of Ramadan to pay his respects. And, you know, he nodded at that in his words at the border, sort of nodding at the fact that many Muslims inside Gaza will not simply be fasting through choice or piety, but simply that they are not able to access any food, making it very clear that aid needs to go through. He said that the blocking of these aid trucks, some 7,000, according to Egyptian officials, as he was told by them there at the border, that was a moral outrage and that something needed to be done. Now, Israel says that they are not blocking, that it is not them slowing things down, but that is something that Egyptian officials are saying is the problem, that there are 7,000 trucks at the border waiting to go through, and it's these checks by Israel that are slowing this aid delivery down. He also said that Gazans were not alone, that the international community was appalled and standing by them. And he, as you heard in that soundbite that you just played there, that he was decrying that a further onslaught was bad, both for Gazans as well as the hostages. He called for, as you just heard in the sort of because it's Ramadan, that you know, people should, that Hamas should consider releasing the hostages, and again, of course, calling for a ceasefire. The day after the UN Security Council failed to vote on a recommendation for a ceasefire.
DW correspondent Rebecca Ritters in Jerusalem. Thanks, Rebecca.